All you foodies, take a closer look. This tree-lined suburban street might lead to heaven on earth.
I would say that probably 80% of the food that we eat comes from within a 5-mile radius of this house.
These peppers.
These peppers, yeah.
They come from?
That comes from 50 feet away.
Clay Johnson and Rosalind Lemieux moved their family here from Washington, D.C. 2 years ago. Their 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom home sits 40 minutes south of downtown Atlanta. They bought here for the close-knit neighborhood and this organic farm right beyond their backyard.
We had a friend from New York City come down here and ask us if it was decorative. And he would say, like, did they put those hay bales out there for, is that an art installation?
Green Acres is the place to be.
But this isn't Green Acres. Oliver and Lisa Douglas were city folk trying their hand at farming. Johnson and Lemieux are technology consultants living in a development called Serenbe. More than 200 homes and growing. The big draw here is not swim, tennis, or golf, but a real working farm.
To be clear, we're not roughing it. Like, that farm is cared for by professional farmers. We buy the food. We are lucky to be so close to it, to be able to benefit, but we're not having to go out there and, hoe the farm.
People love the idea of sitting on their back porch and watching the farmers grow the food.
Steve Nygren is Serenbe's developer.
But where did you get the idea of putting a farm, a working farm, in the center?
Well, I grew up on a farm. My family is generational farmers from Colorado.
Nygren had opened and owned more than 30 restaurants when he bought 60 acres of farmland in 1994. And gradually, that family farm became Serenbe. He was nervous about urban sprawl and decided to develop a community his way. Today, Serenbe has 1,000 acres. Its clusters of homes are surrounded by walking trails and horse stables. But at the center of it all, 25 acres set aside for agriculture.
The first 20 lots that I priced were sold in 48 hours. And the next group were sold in about 6 weeks. So I realized that there was actually the market demand for what we were talking about.
As an approach, Serenbe grew from the same farm-to-table movement that has changed restaurant menus and brought farmers markets to more and more neighborhoods. This community planted itself at the forefront of the latest development trend, the Agrihood.
It's really about using farms and agriculture as an amenity.
Ed McMahon is a researcher at the Urban Land Institute in Washington, D.C.
When I first started following this, you could count the number of developments like this on both hands. Today, there are literally hundreds of them, and I hear about a new one virtually every week. Putting a farm in the middle of development is relatively low cost, and it's something that seems to resonate with lots of people. So I think we're going to see a lot more of these kind of projects going forward.
Agrihoods are popping up like peppers coast to coast. The Cannery near Sacramento has a 7.5-acre farm. Prairie Crossing outside Chicago is anchored by a 100-acre farm. And just outside Washington, D.C., you'll find Willowsford, with its 300 acres set aside for fruits and vegetables, chickens, and goats. But agrihoods are often luxury living. The average home at Serenbe costs about $700,000, 5 times more than other homes in the area. Serenbe recently broke ground on 200 new homes, and when complete, is expected to have 1,200 residents.
People that are moving here, they want to be near the farm. They want to overlook it.
29-year-old Ashley Rogers is Serenbe's farm manager.
I know most of the folks in the community, and they can come up to me one day and say, "Oh man, I made that sweet potato last night." And that warms my heart more than like anything.
Rogers grew up in suburban Detroit. She feels a special connection here. Her hands in the soil, her heart in the community.
I love what I do. I think about Charles that lives right there all the time. And just hearing him say, "Hey, Ashley," like knowing that he cares about what I'm doing and I can affect him and he can come after school and pick radishes with us, you know, and his parents can say, oh, thank you, like, you make such an impact on him. Like, where else can I do that?
How important is the farm to this community?
Oh, I think it's vital. It's the centerpiece of the community. You know, we'll spend 2 to 3 hours at the farmer's market on Saturday, not just buying vegetables. I mean, that takes 15 minutes, but checking in with neighbors, seeing how everybody's doing. If you replace that farm with a golf course, right, like, we wouldn't live here.
Can this model be duplicated, replicated in other places?
Gosh, I would hope so. I really would hope so. Because the subdivisions, you know, that I grew up in, I hope that that's an end of an era and we can have this community, not a subdivision.